Hello, I'm John Green, and this is Crash Course World History. Today we are talking about Cuba during the Cold War. Don't be mistaken though, the Cold War was not a war fought in freezing temperatures. That was the Penguin Revolution. In fact, in the Cold War, there was no fighting at all. There was just the constant threat of war. The closest that the US and the Soviet Union got to having a full-on nuclear war was the Cuban Missile Crisis, when the USSR stored nuclear warheads in Cuba for 13 days, from October 16 to October 28, 1962.
Oh, Mr. Green.
Yes, me from the past?
Why did the USSR store their weapons in Cuba?
Well, my past self, that's a very good question. They stored some of their nuclear weapons in Cuba because they didn't have the capabilities to send the missiles to the US from Russia. This allowed the USSR to have a nuclear warfare very close to the US. The missiles were actually 90 miles off the shore of Florida.
And now it's time for the open letter to Fidel Castro. But first, let's see what's in the secret compartment. Oh, it's some tape. I'm sure they have a couple of these over at the businesses they stole from the US. Dear Castro, we know you're taking businesses, casinos, and factories from America. The U.S. will end all diplomatic relations, as well as restricting all trade between the U.S., so good luck, Charlie. Best wishes, John Green. The American government discovered the missiles in Cuba by using spy planes. These missiles were stationed only 90 miles off the coast of Florida, which set off alarming fear about another possible war. President Kennedy addressed the public after the missiles were found. He later set up a Navy blockade around Cuba to show that the US was ready to use force if any missiles were fired. Despite the large amount of tension, the Soviet and American leaders had been sending many letters and other types of communications. Therefore, on October 26th, Khrushchev sent a letter to Kennedy promising that he would remove the nuclear warheads as long as the US did not invade Cuba. Officially, they accepted these terms. Later, the USSR asked Kennedy to remove the missile installations in Turkey, which they did privately.
Thank you for watching. I'm John Green, and this has been Crash Course World History.